It's fight day, man, and I'm sure, like most of you out there right now, um, I'm very pumped for this fight tonight between Errol Spence Jr. and Sean Porter. Um, it's been a long time coming. A lot of people have been asking, where's the beating the odds with Beeb segment? Where's it been? It's been a long time since you've done one of those. You guys are correct because boxing is sometimes very tough to bet on because of the multitude of mismatches that we're fed week after week after week. And the odds makers even have this fight a mismatch, whether or not you guys believe it or not. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Burgess? What's up, Rue? Shout out to everybody in the chat. So it's been a long time coming, as I said. Beating the odds with Beeb. The segment is back. And shout out to Ryan Hong. You've been asking me where it's been. Well, I told you it was coming back, and it's coming back. Well, enough of that. Let's talk about this fight. Um, the question is, Beeb, how do you bet this fight? Spence is a minus 1,000. Porter is a plus 650. Now, most people are picking Spence. Now, whether you think that he should be a minus 1,000 and Porter should be a plus 650, well, you know, that's a good question, but it's kind of irrelevant uh, to some degree because if you like a certain fighter, you like a certain fighter, and the odds may not mean much to you. You're just picking a winner. But here in the beating the odds with Beeb segment, odds are everything. The line is everything, and it's really hard to beat the house. And sometimes you got to cheat the line. And today I'm going to give you a couple ways on how to cheat the line, and I'm going to give you my recommendation for a bet tonight. Now, we all know Porter has been touted as being this brawler, mauler type guy. He's been in a lot of ugly fights, a lot of sloppy fights. He's been called a dirty fighter by several fighters. We all saw what happened in the Andre Berto fight with all the headbutts. And other fights, it's been the same thing where he mauls, throws elbows, kind of pushes you, headbutts you, whatever. Is he a dirty fighter? Absolutely not. Now, does he care what happens in there? In other words, does he go out of his way to not headbutt you? Does he go out of his way to try to not elbow you? No. I mean, he has a style. He's going to implement it, and whatever happens, happens. If he's going to, dart in on you and be aggressive, if his head manages to hit your head, then so be it. I mean, he's not going to go out of his way to ensure that you don't get headbutted and ensure that you may not get a shoulder in the chest or an elbow in the chest. I mean, that's just his style. Will it change? It's highly unlikely. Now, we have seen in other fights, particularly the Udenis Ugas fight, where he tried to be less aggressive, tried to be the boxer type. Sort of like what Spence did against Mikey Garcia. He went into that fight with the mentality that, everyone thinks that I'm going to be the weight bully here. I'm just going to bully Mikey Garcia. And everyone says that if this fight goes the distance thing, then it's likely that Garcia could get a decision here because on paper he was thought of as the more technically gifted, skilled boxer. So going into that fight, the mentality for Spence was different. He had to show people, or wanted to show people, that he had skills. Um, Now, it's one thing having a plan A, B, and C and being able to switch things up, but it's another thing of taking and carrying a mentality into the ring. And I'm going to use an example. Now, Marvin Hagler definitely had a plan A, B, and C. He was ambidextrous. He could box, he could counterpunch, and he could stalk you if he wanted to. But going into that Leonard fight, Leonard kind of gassed him up a little bit during the press conferences. What did he say? Well, Marvin Hagler's thought of as this, you know, aggressive, monstrous type fighter in there who just beats guys into submission, knocks guys out, wears guys down. He's a grinder in there. He's a tough, gritty, uh, dangerous fighter. Okay, that was the perception of Marvin Hagler. But again, what Ray Leonard did in that fight was, he kind of gassed him up and said, you know what? Marvin Hagler's a better boxer than a lot of people give him credit for. He's not just this brute and physical specimen that people say is. He can box. So, during the press conference, Marvin Hagler said, don't be surprised if I outbox Ray. So Ray kind of got in his head, kind of made him believe that he was this boxer type, which he can box, don't get me wrong. But the question is, why try to get into a technical fight with Ray Leonard when that's his strength? So the same thing kind of happened in the Errol Spence-Mikey Garcia fight where Spence was told, you're the bigger guy. He was perceived as the bully in there. So he was just going to outsize, outgun, and, be the more physically imposing fighter against against Garcia. So Spence went in there with the mentality, well, you know what? If I go out there and blow him out of there, I'm going to do what everyone expects me to do. I'm going to be perceived as the bully, the bigger man, just outworked and outgunned and, imposed his physicality on the smaller guy. So what he decided to do was, you know what? This guy's thought of as the technical guy. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to outbox this guy. And I think that, with all due respect to Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia definitely is the more defensively responsible fighter. He's definitely the more technically gifted fighter. So that played into that as well. But no one's sitting there saying that Sean Porter, is the more technically gifted fighter than Spence. So the mentality going into this fight is, if I lay back on this guy's going to come forward. He's going to be the aggressive guy. If I lay back on this guy, I'm only playing right into his hands. So I'm bigger than Porter. Arguably, I'm stronger than Porter. And I feel as though I definitely hit harder than Porter. So why not get into a brawl with this guy? Why not take it to him? And we talked about fighting on the inside last week, and the perception being that, it's all physical, it's all mauling, it's all strength, it's all grittiness, it's all just being a grinder and outworking somebody and mauling them and bullying them and being the more physically imposing figure in there. But as I alluded to, I believe it's more about body positioning. And you could argue that nobody in the game today has mastered the art of body positioning on the inside more so than Errol Spence. Being able to step off to the side, hang on the guy's shoulder, not staying in the center line of the pocket when you're deep in the pocket, making yourself an elusive target, taking your head off center line out of the range of your opponent's line of fire while you're in the inside, while creating the punching angle for yourself. And Spence has mastered that, being able to step off to the side, dig to the ribs, come around to the liver, step off to the other side, hang on the guy's shoulder, smother him, take his punching angle away, and not allow him to get off. So creating a position on the inside where you are in the favorable spot where you can get your shots off cleanly and effectively while your opponent cannot get theirs off. Porter hasn't done that. For the most part, when Porter is in there, stays center line, a lot of times stands straight up, allows himself to be contained and held in there. Whereas we talked about last week, Julio Cesar Chavez, he was another master of the body positioning. Things he would do, when you try to grab him, he'd slip up underneath. And then if you went down to try to grab him again, he'd come up top like that. And if you lean forward, the top of his head would hit your chin. So then you'd think twice about leaning forward and try to grab him again. And he would come up underneath, step off to the side, boom, hang on your shoulder, create the punching angle. Porter has not mastered that. He's not mastered that. That's why Kell Brook was able to contain him. And that's why a lot of these other fights with Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia were very, very close. Okay? And other fights, Sean Porter was heavily favored against, Julio Diaz. And he ended up getting a draw in that fight. And then in the rematch, that fight was still competitive and he won by a close decision. Even the Granados fight was more competitive than it should have been. Phil LaGreco fight was more competitive than it should have been. Your Dennis Ugas was more competitive than it should have been. And I thought he lost that Ugas fight. And once again, he was trying to prove people wrong, Sean Porter, similar to what Errol Spence was trying to do in the Garcia fight. And he tried to fight on the outside and box on the outside. And it worked against him. So he tried to recreate himself in that fight. And it worked against him. So he doesn't have the plan A, B, and C to the extent that Errol Spence does. And that's not to take anything away from Porter, because Porter is still a very, very highly skilled fighter in his own right, given his style. I mean, it's been effective for him against certain fighters, but again, it's kind of like a do or die type style, a kill or be killed type style. He's never going to be that slick boxer from the outside. He's never going to be that counter puncher from the outside. So you can say that, oh, well, maybe he fought down to the level of his opposition in those fights, but even when he stepped up, he struggled against top level guys and he struggled against lower level guys because of the style that he has. It either works perfectly to a T, or it either looks great or it looks bad. There's no middle ground with that. Whereas Errol Spence has many, many, many more tools in the toolbox. He can fight on the outside, he can counterpunch, he can box, he can stalk you, he can outgut you on the inside. He could be that dog when he has to, but he could be that finesse guy as well. And then you sit there and say, well, Sean Porter's never been knocked out. Well, neither was Kell Brook ever knocked out before he met Errol Spence. Okay? So Errol Spence, you could say, oh, well, of course he's going to look good and blow some of these other guys out because he's levels above them. But Sean Porter was levels above other guys too, but he couldn't blow them out. He actually looked bad against them. And he actually had closer fights against him than he should have. Whereas Errol Spence always did what he was supposed to do. There's never really been an iffy performance out of Errol Spence. There's never been a performance out of Errol Spence where you could have said, well, that could have gone the other way. He's just been that dominant. And then you can argue, well, Porter fought better fighters. He fought Keith Thurman. He fought Danny Garcia. Okay, went life and death with both guys. But again, you can argue that to an extent. But what about what Errol Spence did? Going into his opponent's backyard, Kell Brook, who you could argue is a better fighter or was a better fighter than Sean Porter because he beat Sean Porter. Okay? I think Kell Brook in his prime would have beat Danny Garcia. And you could argue that Kell Brook would have beat Keith Thurman. Okay? So, if you want to apply the logic of better resume, well, he fought more top-level guys probably. But Errol Spence has fought a lot of good guys too. I mean, Lamont Peterson's a solid fighter. Obviously, Mikey Garcia is a very good fighter. He was outmanned and outgunned in that fight, but regardless, he's still a good fighter. Obviously, Kell Brook, again, you could argue at the time when Errol Spence fought him, went into his backyard, is just as good or probably better than Thurman, Garcia. You can argue that. It's better than Thurman and Garcia. So you could say that, okay, when you fight top-level guys, it's harder to knock them out. But Errol Spence was in a 50-50 fight on foreign soil against a guy that was never knocked out before and a guy that arguably was a better boxer than him in a lot of people's minds from a technical standpoint. He went in there and knocked out Kell Brook. You could say what you want about the Triple G fight, but again, that's debatable whether or not that took a lot out of Kell Brook and whether that was the same Kell Brook or not. But again, Kell Brook went into Sean Porter's backyard, and I thought he clearly beat him. I had that fight scored 8-4 for Kell Brook, and Sean Porter had no answers. So Errol Spence could do a lot of the things that Kell Brook did, and plus a lot of other things on top of that. So Errol Spence has many more ways to win than Sean Porter does. Because Sean Porter, there's no way he's going to out-finesse, out-box Spence from the outside. He's going to have to out-work him, out-muscle him on the inside, and try to disrupt Errol Spence and prevent him from getting his shots off. But the problem is when Porter does try to do those things, a lot of times he smothers his own punches. And as I said, Spence is so good on the inside with body positioning, he's going to be able to step around Porter a lot in this fight and get those shots off, where Porter is not going to have the same punching angles. He's not going to have the optimum punching angles where he can get his stuff off. And again, that's a great point, Scance Rants. If he couldn't outmuscle Brook, he's not going to outmuscle Spence. And I agree with that. So Spence could outbox Porter, or he could outwork him, outmuscle him, and he can knock him out. So once again, going back to the betting strategy here, obviously it wouldn't be wise to bet Spence at a -1,000, because who wants to put up $1,000 to win 100? It's just not worth the aggravation. We all know that. And here at Beating the Odds with Beeb, what do we look for? We're constantly looking for value. And I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he kept saying, well, you know what? Porter's never been knocked out. Well, there's a first time for everything. No one's ever done anything in life. No one's ever done anything in life, I repeat, until they've done it the first time. You know? So, just because Porter's never been knocked out before, well, neither was Kell Brook. Okay? And that was a much, much more difficult fight to predict than this fight, because again, the odds were very close. And even though Brook was coming off that loss to Golovkin, still an accomplished fighter, still a highly skilled fighter. And he was in his backyard. He was in his backyard. And he was thought, again, as I repeat, to be the more technically gifted, more skilled fighter on paper than Spence. And Spence hung with him in the boxing department early on in that fight. People say that they thought Brook was winning that fight. I still had Spence winning that fight. You know, even though it was competitive, I still thought he was hanging in there with Brook, and I still think he was, you know, boxing him very well from the outside. That's not to say that Brook didn't have his moments. But, you know, Spence has a phenomenal chin, because he got hit with some very solid right hands in that fight against Brook, and he took them well. But going back to what my brother was telling me yesterday, oh, well, Porter's never been knocked out before. How could he get knocked out now? Well, because he's never been in there with a guy like Errol Spence. Okay? He's never been in there with a guy like Errol Spence. And I think Spence has been in there with a better fighter in Kell Brook than Sean Porter. A more highly skilled fighter than Sean Porter, a harder puncher than Sean Porter, in my opinion, because I think Kell Brook at that time was arguably one of the hardest punchers in the division, if not the hardest puncher, right up there with Spence. But Spence wasn't proven at that time, so it was hard to make that claim, because that was the first time he fought a top-level guy, so the argument could have been made, well, he's just knocking out inferior fighters. But he didn't knock out an inferior fighter. He knocked out a fighter, in my opinion, who was more highly skilled than Porter, okay, that hit harder than Porter, and I thought showed to be physically stronger than Porter, okay? So that was a fight that you could argue that, even though it was very close on the odds, it was like practically an even money fight. Could argue that probably Brooks should have been favored in that fight, given the circumstances and given the resume and given what him being champion and him being on his home turf. So at the end of the day, Spence is going to be in there with the guy who's going to play right into his hands. So he's not going to have that mentality and the thought process of, well, if this fight goes the distance, then Porter can win a decision. Not the same mentality going in. Like there doesn't have to prove that he's a better boxer than Porter. He was basically goaded into and challenged into proving that he was a better boxer than Mikey Garcia. So the mentality, again, plan A, B, and C can come into effect, but it's hard to switch up a mentality. If you go into a fight with a specific mentality, that mentality can kind of take over what you want to do in there. Now that doesn't mean that you can't instinctively switch to A, B, and C with your game plans or what you're able to do. Doesn't mean you're not going to dig into your bag of tricks. But if you go into a fight with the mentality that I'm gonna show this guy that I'm actually the more skilled fighter, I'm the better boxer, then it's hard to switch that mentality. So you can switch game plans from A, B, and C. You can have multiple levels and you can have multiple tools in your toolbox, but at the end of the day, the mindset is the hardest thing to change. But that mindset of, okay, I have to outbox Porter because Porter's thought to be the better boxer, the more highly, that's not even a factor here because, that's not the case because everyone believes that Spence is the better boxer. No one's saying, oh, well, Spence isn't thought of as the bully here. He's not thought of. So there's nothing to prove in terms of, okay, well, if I go in there and just blow out Mikey Garcia, well, they're going to say the bigger man just took advantage of the smaller man. He was a weight bully. All that is not factored into this matchup. It's just the opposite. Everybody thinks that, Porter is the brawler, he's the mauler, he's the physical guy, and if Spence tries to fight fight him toe to toe, he could probably win, but it'll be a tougher fight than it has to be, blah, blah, blah. So Spence is going to prove in this fight that, you know what, everybody knows I'm the better boxer, I'm the more skilled guy, but now I'm out to prove that I'm more of a dog than this guy. I'm more of a physical guy. I'm stronger than this guy. I can punch harder than this guy. This guy thinks that he can come into my space and try to bully me, try to outmuscle me. I'm going to show everybody that, you know what? I can beat Sean Porter at his own game too. Okay? So there's bragging rights here for basically who's the stronger, better motherfucker in there, so to speak, to put it bluntly. Okay? And Spence was asked the question in this fight, if you don't knock out Sean Porter, will it be a disappointment? And he said, yeah, kind of it would be. Really would be. When he was he never said those things in the Mikey Garcia fight because, again, the mentality was, I'm going to make a statement by showcasing my skills. In this fight, he's going to make a statement by showing that I'm the badder dude. Okay? So how do you bet this fight? Well, the over-under in this fight is 11 and a half rounds. And that's at a plus 165. So that kind of covers you on both ends. Okay? 11 and a half rounds, those are a lot of rounds to work with. A lot of rounds to work with. But also, you have a knockout proposition for Spence, which is a plus 180. So there's caveats on both sides. So you take the under, and for whatever reason, maybe Spence does stop Porter in the 12th round. Okay? Or actually 11 and a half rounds. So So you take the under and say Spence stops Porter in the 11th round, but it's you know at you know 151 and you miss it by 1 second, you lose the bet. But I think it's highly unlikely that Porter is going to knock out Spence, because if Spence could take Cal Brooks' right hand clean, then he could take Porter's punches clean, which he's probably not even going to take Porter's punches clean. He's going to roll a lot of them. He's going to see a lot of them coming. I'm not saying he's not going to get hit, but I don't think he's going to get hit as flush as he got in the Brook fight. So I think it's close to impossible, and that's I know that's a bold statement, but it's close to impossible that Porter can stop Spence. But it is plausible that Spence can stop Porter, because Porter again is not as defensively responsible even as Cal Brook or as Mikey Garcia. So I think that it's just hard for me to believe Porter's going to stop Spence. But because Spence is so great offensively, I think he's faster than Sean Porter of hand and foot. I think he hits much harder than Sean Porter, and I think he'll be able to hit Porter much more cleaner than Porter's going to be able to hit him. So I believe that Spence is going to knock out Sean Porter in this fight in around 10, 9 or 10 rounds. That's my pick. So this, you could take the under here at plus 165, but why take the plus 165 when you can get the plus 180 with Errol Spence? Get the plus 180 with Errol Spence, and this way, even if Spence knocks him out in the 12th round, so you have 12 rounds to work with instead of 11 and a half. Okay? So, it could be in the 12th round, you take the under, and if Spence knocks him out in the 12th round under 1 minute and 50 seconds, then you win the bet. But what if Spence was to knock him out in like I said, 1.151 seconds in the 12th round? I misspoke earlier. I said 11th round, so I'm correcting myself. So you could say, well, the under covers me on both sides. But again, the caveat to that is, well, what if the knockout happens at 1 minute and 51 seconds? You missed the bet. Okay, because a lot of times with these knockouts, guys get up, the clock runs, the clock's still running when these guys get up. It could be that you could miss the under by a few seconds, and you'd be killing yourself if you do that. Why not just take Spence with the straight KO proposition? And that way, if it does happen later in the 12th round, if Porter got up a couple times before before the fight got called off, while the clock's running, you cover yourself because you have that 1 minute and 50 seconds to work with extra. So my pick here is Spence with the knockout proposition. That's the bet I'm recommending here. Take Spence with the stoppage proposition at plus 180. You covers yourself. Even if Spence hits Porter, busts his eye open, and the fight gets stopped on a cut, TKO, retirement, whatever, you get Spence with the stoppage proposition. You have a lot of time to work with here. You have 12 rounds to work with instead of 11 and a half. And again, as I said, in my opinion, it's highly unlikely that Porter stops Spence. I thought Spence looked like the much bigger guy at the weigh-in. Both guys looked in decent shape, but Spence seems to me to, even though he strips down a lot of weight, he seems to still hold on to a lot of his muscle mass, where Porter looks very flat at weigh-ins. He had a hard time making weight in his last fight, and to me, as crazy as this may sound, it seems to me that It's harder for Porter to make weight than maybe Spence, even though Spence has the bigger frame. Um, I don't know. Just Spence just looked bigger, stronger. He looked better at the weigh-in. Now, whether that means anything or not, that's just my opinion on how he looked. That doesn't always play into the fight, but I think Porter's kind of been in a lot of these tough fights, close fights recently because I think conditioning plays a factor in that. I think he kind of slows down a little bit in fights, and even in the Adrian Broner fight, he got knocked down in the 12th round. You can attribute that to many things, but took his foot off the gas pedal. And if he takes his foot off the gas pedal in this fight, it's going to be detrimental to him. So my recommendation here is Errol Spence. Take the plus 180 and bet Errol Spence with the stoppage proposition. That's my recommendation. Beating the odds at Beeb has returned with another pick here. This is a tough fight in a lot of people's minds to bet because of the odds were so wide in Spence's favor, but this is where the proposition bets come in handy. So Spence plus 180 stoppage proposition. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your opinion. How do you see this fight going? Do you think it's going to go the distance? Do you think it's going to be a knockout? I think it's going to be a knockout, and I think Spence is going to be the guy who scores the knockout. That's just my opinion. And someone just said in the chat, JC said if Porter exchanges, he's going to get KO'd. Well, he most definitely is going to try to go toe-to-toe. He's most definitely is going to try to engage, and that's going to play right into Spence's hands. Because Spence can outbox him, or he can knock him out. Either way, I just think that Porter has to throw all caution into the wind here. He has to sell out. He has to go for broke. And I think he knows this. And he's even saying that this is going to be a different fight than the Ugas fight. So I just think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Spence, much more opportunities in this fight than there were in the Garcia fight. And I don't think Porter is going to go into survival mode because I want to piggyback off of a statement that my co-host Eric Lauder made. He goes, we've never seen Porter go into survival mode. That's just not who he is. That's just not his style. That's just not how he fights. And he doesn't believe it's going to happen in this fight. So I know it's a risk. If the fight goes the distance, then you lose. But there's always a risk. There's always caveats when you bet. But in my opinion, I honestly believe that there's a 75 to 80% chance that Spence gets the KO. And when you can get 75 to 80% in anything in life, because nothing is 100% guaranteed, but 75 to 80%, those are pretty good odds in your favor. So that's how I feel. All right. That's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you think. Any questions in the chat that you need me to answer right now, I'll definitely be willing to do that. Make sure you check out the Ringside Reporter podcast tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I believe Eric and myself will be back later tonight. We will be doing a live cast for this fight. The Durrell versus the Durrell fight versus Benavidez tonight. That's going to be a phenomenal fight. I think Benavidez is going to crush. It's going to crush Durrell. With all due respect to Durrell, that fight's virtually unbettable. I think you can't get odds in anywhere you go. So I think that that's a tough one to bet on. But David Benavidez, I think, is the truth at super middleweight. A lot of people think Callum Smith is the best fighter at super middleweight. I love David Benavidez. I think he's dangerous. I think he's a harder puncher. I think I would say that he's the better fighter over Callum Smith. I love Benavidez in this fight. H Money says he wants a link. Let me see if I can get him a link to this fight. to this chat. Maybe I'll let him come on. It's been a while since I talked to my man H Money. Let me see if I can get him on here. Let me see if I can send him a link real quick. Anyone else wants a link and they want to talk about this fight today? Let me know. I'd be more than willing to send anybody a link. Trying to see if I can find H Money's email address. It's been a while since I emailed him. Okay, I got it. Let me see if I can send H Money a link. Okay. Give me some time, H Money. See if I can send you a link. Beeb, has Spence ever been cut in a fight? I'm trying to get a sense of Porter's chances if that happens. I'm not sure. I think in the Brook fight he had maybe a small cut on over the eye, but that's one of the caveats too, because of the headbutt. You have an orthodox and a southpaw fighter. What happens if there is a cut? But the thing is Spence is taller than Porter, so it's going to be harder for Porter to maybe headbutt him. And Spence is good at creating the angle, stepping off to the side, so he's not going to come straight in. He's going to kind of come in at an angle. So I don't think that he's going to get cut in this fight. He could. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's less of a chance because of the way Spence fights, because of his physical dimensions, that maybe he won't. So it could happen, but I don't think it's as likely as it would be in other situations. So let me see if this is the right link for H Money to get on here. I'm gonna send you the link, H Money. I'm thinking this is the link. I'm trying to figure out if this is the link to the video, or if it's the link to the. Have you talked about the early weigh-in and the rehab? What do you mean the early weigh-in? There is no early weigh-in today because it's a unification bout, so there is no second day weigh-in. There is no second day weigh-in in this fight because it's a unification bout, so I don't think it's the same here. Oh, hold on. I think I sent you the wrong link, H Money. My fault. Let me send you the other. I'm going to send you the right link here. Sorry, H Money. Let me send you. I sent you the show link. Give me a second. I'm going to send you the right link. Kind of still learning how to do this. A little bit here. One second, H Money. I'm trying to find this email address for H Money. All right, H Money, give me 1 second here. We're gonna send you a link in about 1 second. Just give me a second here. We will be sending you a link, H Money. Okay, this email is going to be the titled link. Give me 1 second, H Money. Bear with me. Sorry for the interruption, guys, but I'm going to get my man on real quick. Okay, so let's get back to the chat here. Okay, remember when Uzgataki fought the other Durrell? Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, the uncle punched him. Yeah, that was some crazy shit. That was kind of messed up. I agree with that. Definitely. That was not a good look. Cozy Rito says, I got Spence stopping him late, probably 10th or 11th round. Shouts out to Ringside. Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Anybody wants to give us a super chat? Remember, we are still looking to buy equipment here. And we still have bills in regards to this show. So all super chats, whether they're big or small, will be very helpful. So, and again, don't forget to check us out tonight. Doing a live cast for the fight tonight. Probably go live during the Benavidez Durrell fight, as well as the main event. So those two fights. This is a pretty solid card tonight. So I'm looking forward to this card. I think it's going to be a great show. So yeah, anybody wants to join in tonight, make sure you join us tonight. Should be awesome. That's the Josecito versus Molina fight. That's a great fight too, and Molina is the favorite. Excuse me, Josecito Lopez is the favorite. I think Molina's like a 3-1 underdog, but I think Molina's definitely a live dog, and I wouldn't be against. I would not be against betting Molina in that fight, taking the odds. H Money, what's up, man?
Hey yo, what's going on? It's your boy H Money, Mr. The Zone. And Beeb is a big night of boxing. Can you hear me good? How do I sound?
You sound perfect, brother. Don't worry about it. You sound good.
Yes, sir. I was trying to get your input on this welterweight unification about there's a lot of hype around this fight. I mean, even though I don't think the hype is real, just me being a boxing guy, you know what I mean? It felt like it's like forced. It's forced upon the PBC to make this one of their biggest fights. I wouldn't consider this like a mega fight like Canelo versus Kovalev, Beep. Just me being around boxing for a long time, even like the Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz rematch. I feel like that's a massive fight worth 100 million. But in this case, it's like we are forced for this fight. This fight should have been made years ago, Beeb. I mean, Sean Porter had beat Adrian Broner a while ago. Sean Porter had faced Kell Brook. Kell Brook gave Sean Porter his first loss. Let's not forget about Sean Porter versus Kell Brook. You know, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing coming to America, invaded America that time, and they were successful by dethroning Sean Porter and giving him his first loss. You know, Sean Porter definitely came back and had some wins. You know, he had a win against Danny Garcia. Well, even a lot of people thought that Danny Garcia won that fight, you know, but Sean Porter pulled it off. His last fight against Ugas. I mean, I'm pretty sure you had Ugas winning that fight.
I did, yeah.
So I'm just saying, Sean Porter, he is tough, you know, but I wouldn't consider him one of the elite. He's not an elite fighter because Kell Brook, he showed us that Sean Porter can be beat, you know, and he's not a Terrence Crawford kind of guy. Porter's like on your B level list. He's on your B level. And he's known for bullying smaller guys like Adrian Broner and Danny Garcia, who moved up from 135. He's not a natural bully. He's not the bigger guy in this fight, Beeb. Earl Spence is the bigger welterweight, much bigger, walks around about 200 pounds. You know what I mean? Sean Porter's in for a long night, Beeb, if you ask me. I feel like it's going to be a man down.
So you agree with me that Spence by stoppage is definitely a plausible outcome here?
Yeah, that's an accurate statement. I feel like Sean Porter has a lot of leaks in his defense, and when he tries to open himself up, when he tries to be that dog, he likes to rushes in and no defense. You know, I feel like if Earl Spence should be able to knock him out. If Adrian Broner was able to drop Sean Porter with a left hook in the 12th round, I feel like Earl Spence should be able to stop him. And Ugas dropped him as well in the 12th round, even though he wasn't given the knockdown. I feel like Earl Spence got what it takes to knock out a Sean Porter, you know. But I'm trying to see if Sean Porter will he try to fight to survive. You know, there's a lot of fighters that get in the ring with Spence and just try to survive, you know. But I don't think he has that same footwork as a Mikey Garcia, who went 12 rounds with Earl Spence.
Yeah, that's the thing here. So I just think that the perception here of Spence, you know, not being able to outmuscle Porter or having problems with Porter on the inside. I don't know. I disagree with that, man. I think that Spence can definitely hang with him in the physical department. I think he could definitely, go blow for blow with him on the inside. And I think that it doesn't necessarily favor Sean Porter if this fight gets taken to the inside, because we've seen Spence show great abilities on the inside, great skills, and had great success over the course of his career fighting on the outside as well as the inside. So,
Well,
I just think that it's going to be a tough, long night for Porter, regardless of how this fight is fought. Whether Spence does decide to pot shot a little bit and use his range, his range and his length and his size from the outside, or if he wants to go in there and try to outmuscle and outgun Porter on the inside. So and plus Porter, as I said, I mentioned this before, gets a little sloppy on the inside. Doesn't always get his shots off properly. Doesn't create enough punching room for himself. Smothers the shots. Where Spence is a master at creating those angles and those getting the proper body positioning on the inside where he can get his shots off clean. And when Spence does land, he does land so flush. He's more of a precise puncher than Porter. So I just have a hard time seeing Porter go the distance in this fight. I know that's the more popular, that's the general consensus pick out there is that this fight's going to go the distance and Spence is going to win by decision. But again, there's a first time for everything, man. There's a first time for everything. There was a first time for Kell Brook to get knocked out in his fight with Spence too. So you could have made that argument in the Brook fight, which was a 50-50 fight, as I mentioned earlier in this video. It was a 50-50 fight. Spence went into his backyard and he stopped him. He made a statement. So I think the same can be done here. I think he can make a statement. I think both guys are looking to make a statement. So when you're fighting for bragging rights, generally in those types of situations, those types of fights, you're willing to put it all on the line. And I think that's what's going to happen here. We could see a Hagler versus Hearns type fight here, with Spence being Hagler, the southpaw Hagler, and I'm not gonna say Porter could be Hearns because he's just a different fighter than Hearns.
he's way shorter.
But he could suffer the same fate as Hearns did, meaning that he could decide to go to war like Hearns did and come up short and be on the receiving end of possibly a one-sided beating.
I think,
as crazy as that may sound to some.
well, just me personally, I feel like Spence he's going to be the bully in that ring. Spence is the bigger fighter, Beeb. I mean, this guy is huge. He's way taller than Sean Porter, and he's bigger and he's more physical than Sean Porter. Then, like you mentioned, as far as the inside fighting, this is what Errol Spence specializes in, with body shots. He loves to fight in the inside. He's very vicious with his body attack. He punches with mean intentions, so I don't see Porter getting past. I don't think Porter will finish the fight. I feel like it's people trying to sell the fight and they're trying to give Porter a chance, but this should be a one-sided massacre. And Beeb, we all know Spence was considered a boogeyman, and this is why, because when Danny Garcia became the welterweight champion, he never fought Errol Spence. He never unified. The same thing with Keith Thurman. He ducked Errol Spence. Everybody was ducking him. Sean Porter had an opportunity to fight him, but he waited until now, about 3 years after. You know what I mean? PBC only gave us one unification bout in the welterweight division, Beeb, in the past 4 years. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
That's pretty bad. And PBC, they say, oh, we got the welterweights, we got this division on lock. But one unification bout in 4 years. Imagine the zone is on. We only been in the zone for 1 year, Beeb. Imagine we got all the middleweights, right? Imagine for 4 years we go past on the zone and Canelo never fights Andrade. You know what I mean? And people will be killing him. DAZN, Triple G signed with DAZN for no reason. You know what I mean? He's not fighting Canelo. Well, DAZN is failing. But when PBC do it, you know what I mean? We wait 4 years to get a unification. Earl Spence never fought against Keith Thurman. Your best fighters never fight against each other. You guys never unified. You know,
he says
you don't
your
have
best fighters like I'm PB's like I'm part.
No,
of
no, not you, Beeb.
No,
not
I'm playing. I'm playing.
No, it's not you. It's just the you know how the I don't know, man. I don't want to put a name on it, but it's a lot how these guys think out here in America, such as the LDBC. You know, just got to let it be known. Such as these guys. No, I'm not dissing, but I'm just saying though, B.
Name drops.
Hey, okay, I got you. But you know what they're doing.
No, hey, listen, you can speak your mind on here, man.
Yeah, Beeb, I'm just saying DAZN has been. Are you aware that DAZN is the #1 sports app in the world now already in less than a year? Are you aware?
Listen,
over ESP. Huh?
Listen, PBC, I think, in its totality this year, I think has been very solid. But after DAZN got off to a slow start, they're kind of coming on this second half of the year, and arguably, they could be catching up, if not passing PBC with the fights they have in the second half. But in my opinion, throughout the course of the year, I think PBC's been more consistent because DAZN got off to a very slow start the first 6 months of this year, and there hasn't been a lot of great matchups. You had Canelo and you had
Jacobs.
You had Canelo and Jacobs. You had Joshua and Ruiz, but those fights did not happen until June. And then you're gonna have Canelo Kovalev, which is going to be huge, and then you're gonna have the rematch. So you could argue. I think you can argue, but I think you could more or less make an accurate statement, a factual statement, if you will, that DAZN's going to have the two biggest fights of the year this fall and winter when they have Canelo and Joshua. I think that's close to being undebatable.
Yes, sir.
But again, I think in terms of consistency, I think PBC, from start to finish this year, has had better fights across the board. But
can I rebuttal?
Well, let me just say this one thing though, and you can rebuttal. But these two fights that DAZN has coming up in the second half, I don't think there's anything that PBC could produce that will pass those two fights. So DAZN will have the two biggest, most high-profile fights coming up this fall and winter. So they've made a strong comeback, and you could argue that based on that they could have and will have the more successful year because of the second half. But go ahead.
Yes, sir. I like to hear you say that. You said they will, which is a fact, have the biggest year of 2019. When you think about the first fight between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz, the biggest upset in the history of boxing, there's not one fight of PBC 2019, or you could even throw 2018 in there, that was even close to this great fight between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. Just a legendary fight that the people will talk about after we are gone, Beeb. After I'm dead, you know what I mean? My kids will still be talking about that fight. Whoa. You know what I mean? Whoa. So this is massive. And let's look at the PBC calendar. Let's look at these pay-per-views on PBC, which all failed to reach 1 million pay-per-view buys, which is very sad since Floyd Mayweather has retired, Beeb. Let's talk about Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao, which was a one-sided massacre and failed to reach 1 million pay-per-view buys once again. And Adrian Broner versus Manny Pacquiao didn't do the numbers that we thought it would do, So Earl Spence versus Mikey Garcia, only about 600 pay-per-view buys, Beeb. This is not Floyd Mayweather numbers. This is not the numbers that Canelo was generating on pay-per-view. And now we have Canelo fighting on DAZN, who is the face of boxing with the biggest contract in the history of boxing. And he's fighting Kovalev, who did pay-per-views. So I'm not a fan of pay-per-view because Kovalev did a pay-per-view with Andre Ward twice, his biggest fight in his career. but he has to come to the zone, leave ESPN to get his biggest payday. The same thing with Andy Ruiz, who had to leave PBC to come to the zone, B, for his last 2 fights to become a millionaire. He was begging for that fight. It's just all these fights is a common denominator. It's happening on the zone. ESPN Plus and the zone, they made the fight between Lomachenko and Lou Campbell. That's cross networks working together. But where's PBC, B? We're talking about 2019 and PBC's year. Why is PBC the only network not working with other promoters? Is it because Bob Arum and Al Heyman has a bad relationship? Or is it because they don't want to see the zone succeed, such as Little Ellerby Hayden and Eddie Hearn exposing Mayweather Promotions?
Well, PBC has enough fighters where they're in a position where they don't necessarily have to work with other promoters, but they are working with other promoters. I mean, Andrew Ruiz is PBC, and he's going to be on the zone. Alito Alvarez was a Heyman fighter, and he signed a contract with Top Rank. So I think that statement you made is a little bit overblown. But here's the thing: when Bob Arum, back in the 2009, 2010, 2011, when he had all the welterweights, when he had Josh Clottey, when he had Pacquiao, when he had Bradley, when he had Cotto, when he had all them guys, Margarito, he never cross-promoted either. Why should you cross-promote if you have all the talent? Why not make the matchups, within your own entity, and then cross the street when you have to? Now, Spence already said that, after this fight, he's going to sit down with possibly Crawford and try to get that fight made. Why? Because if he can't get the Pacquiao fight, he said he'll sit down with Crawford. Why? Because that's the only other viable option for him. To have a big money fight. So when you have all the fighters in one stable, then why not match all them up first, and then you go cross the street? But the argument could be made, well, you know what? It took a long time to get this unification fight between Porter and Spence, but Porter lost to Thurman, so that kind of put a hiccup in the road. But you can argue like what's going on with Danny Garcia. I mean, well, Danny Garcia did fight Porter, he did fight Thurman, so these guys are fighting each other, but it took them a while, or it took Porter a while to fight Spence,
Yeah.
And Porter, wanted to get a belt, and he got a belt, and then he ended up fighting Thurman because I guess the Thurman fight on paper was probably an easier fight for just as much, if not more money, than the Spence fight would have been. But now Spence proved that he could sell pay-per-views with Danny Garcia, and that's another thing we have to talk about, pay-per-views.
About Mikey Garcia.
What do you think? What do you think the pay-per-views for tonight are going to be? I'm going to say that this fight does 300,000, 350,000 pay-per-view buys, which I would consider to be a success given the current state of pay-per-view right now and how, with all the piracy and whatnot. Because I think Fox pay-per-view, I think they do a great job at promoting their pay-per-views, promoting these fighters. I mean, you had Sean Porter on the NFL Today show. They talk about this fight on all of their shows. They had Sean Porter on with Colin what's his name, Cowherd.
Yeah, on ESPN.
So he did that show. So Fox does a great job at promoting PBC. So I think because of that, I think that's going to result in a lot of pay-per-view buys. I like what they're doing. I like all the shows they do. I like how they do the build-up. I like how I really like how they showcase and put these fighters out in front. And even when these guys are doing commentary on live shows, these guys go to fights that even that they're not involved in, so they're always putting their faces out there. So I think it's great, and I think it's a benefit, and I think that's going to translate into a lot of pay-per-view buys. So I think this fight's going to be successful tonight.
I'm thinking this fight will be doing a little bit under what you said. I'm looking towards 275,000 pay-per-view buys, or close to 300,000 maximum.
Yeah.
I don't think the general
I'm gonna say
public really,
300,000. 300,000 low end, upper
Mikey
end,
Garcia
upper end 350. I think the Mikey Garcia fight did about.
600, I think 600 and something.
I thought it did 400, but I could be mistaken.
Mikey Garcia is a big name though, Beeb. He was the one that really sold out that crowd. So Earl Spence, he has to prove to us that he's a main attraction without a Mikey Garcia. You know what I mean? He has to show us that. But I like Spence as a fighter. One thing I love Spence as a fighter. But what you were saying about the PBC, Beeb, they really don't have all the talent. Like the zone have the bigger names, and as far as the Showtime pay-per-view scene, Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 2 is no longer on the pay-per-view now. I mean, I feel like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, they're gonna do this pay-per-view on ESPN. That's gonna be a solely ESPN pay-per-view on this rematch. So I feel like I'm not sure if the Showtime could afford to put on the big pay-per-views like they used to with Mayweather. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're still investing into the boxing game like they used to. I haven't heard much from Stephen Espinoza, but like you did say, Fox, they're actually doing a good job. In this era, to be promoting the pay-per-view the way they're doing, they're trying their best. They're trying the best of their ability. And they're doing a good job. I'm not going to hate.
No, you can't really hate, man.
They're doing a good job, building up the pay-per-view, but it's still at the end of the day, it's not like how pay-per-view was. It's not like a Mayweather pay-per-view, bro. These guys, they don't have that type of following of a Mayweather. They don't have that aura around them. Spence, he took more of the Andre Ward approach to the boxing game. He's more humble. He's a quiet guy.
A lot of people say Mikey Garcia carried that pay-per-view, but
he did.
But neither guy was on pay-per-view, so it's hard to really base that off of anything. So it's hard to. Well, this will be the litmus test tonight, H Money. This will be the litmus test tonight to see if Spence did. I believe Spence had a lot to do with it because the fight was in Dallas. I think him being from Dallas, whatever, that helped. But here's the thing. This will be the litmus test tonight. Let's see what this fight does. Because a lot of people are saying the same thing you said. And there could be some truth to it, but this will prove how true it really is tonight. This fight tonight will prove how true your statement really is. So
I like Spence, Beeb. He's just not that. He doesn't have that crossover appeal about him. I don't think he's going to be like a global star like a Floyd Mayweather. He's a good fighter, no doubt. He's a great fighter. But a global icon, I don't see that.
Yeah, but I think Spence does a good job promoting himself, does a lot of interviews, puts himself out there. I know Crawford was criticized before for not being as accessible to the media as he should be. But I think he's stepping up. I think he's doing better with that as of late. I see him doing Joe Rogan. I see him, doing more interviews, being on more shows. He was on Brandon Schaub's show. So I think he's starting to really realize the importance of PR and media. So he's stepping his game up. And I think Spence does a good job with that, too. I think a lot of these PBC guys do a good job at promoting themselves, putting themselves out there. And I think boxing is on the rise right now. A lot of people criticize, if boxing still has it, if boxing is still popular. I think a lot of guys criticize that. But I think this Fox deal, I think the situation with the zone, I think ESPN Plus had a good card the other week. I think, ESPN Plus, who I think had a horrible year in the beginning of the year. I think even they're starting to put together some decent fights now. I thought that Kovalev Yard fight was good. I thought that was a great card. So that was a step in the right direction. Let's hope that they could follow that momentum and feed off that momentum for the rest of the year. But I think with all of these outlets, now you have boxing on Facebook now. I think the digital era has really, really enhanced boxing for a positive. I'm really a big proponent of this digital era and how they've jumped on and really got behind boxing, and I think that's a good look for the sport of boxing, and I think you will see boxing continue to grow. Now, will we ever have another Floyd Mayweather, a guy
Yes.
that could generate like that?
Yes.
Maybe not. But what we will have is we have more fighters instead of just having a Mayweather and Pacquiao like we had back in the 2009, 2010, and 2011 time frame. Now we have more fighters becoming stars instead of just two fighters, and I think PBC and DAZN are big proponents in helping that happen. So I like the fact that we do have all of these outlets to watch the sport, and I think it's a positive.
Absolutely. The zone is definitely leading the future of boxing, bro. With this great platform, just using the app, no pay-per-views is very reasonable for the price. And Canelo versus Kovalev is a huge fight. That's a fight that everybody wants to see. Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua, even Triple G versus Devchenko for the IBF world title. Triple G gets a title shot in his second fight on DAZN, made a great decision for his career, and now he's developing fighters with Triple G Promotions. And also, we have Regis Prograis versus Josh Taylor, the battle of the undefeateds. Somebody's gotta go. We know the saying, Beeb. This is a great fight. I'm looking forward for this fight. The winner possibly even facing Mikey Garcia. You know, a lot of rumors about Mikey Garcia and Eddie Hearn joining forces. You know, it's not a secret. Eddie Hearn has been doing great things, Beeb. And I have a question for you. Were you able to see the Devin Haney trip to the UK? The next Floyd Mayweather, we just talked about a next Floyd Mayweather. Devin Haney's in the UK right now, in a whole nother country. This guy just had an open workout. Plenty of the media was there, Beeb. It was like he was in America, even bigger. This guy's bigger in the UK, you know what I mean, than most of the fighters out there. Devin Haney, he was hanging out with Eddie Hearn. He did interviews on Sky Sports. They compared him to Floyd Mayweather on Sky Sports. So you guys can't say, not you, B, but people can't say H Money. You can't compare him to Mayweather. But in the UK, Sky Sports, that's exactly what they're doing, B. They're comparing this young 20-year-old to a Floyd Mayweather, man. This guy has a lot of talent, and he had a sparring session with Ricky Burns. I know you – do you remember Ricky Burns? He was supposed to face Adrian Brunner. He's a fighter in the UK. I'm pretty sure Rafi is familiar with Ricky Burns. But they said Ricky Burns and Devin Haney went toe-to-toe, and Devin Haney gave him the business. You know, there's a lot of rumors that Devin Haney did beat up Tank Davis in the doghouse at the Floyd Mayweather gym in front of Floyd Mayweather, you know. And Devin Haney been in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. He been in a sparring match with Floyd, and Zab Judah is Devin Haney's godfather. And Zab Judah, the Hall of Famer, who been in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, said a 20-year-old Devin Haney will smoke a 20-year-old Floyd Mayweather. I just want to throw that out there. I know you're a Devin Haney fan. We're talking about the next Floyd, Beeb. He's in the UK, a whole nother country. These people love him. I'm talking about all people, black people, white people, people from the UK, Americans. They love this one kid coming from America, from our country. We should embrace this kid at 20 years old, a rare talent, like a Sugar Ray Leonard. This guy has what it takes to carry the torch, like a Pernell Whitaker. Rest in peace, Pernell Whitaker, who's not here today. But they're always fighters, like you said.
Pernell Whitaker.
Let Ralph.
How you doing, guys?
Man.
What's up, Ralph?
Yeah, I'm good. H Money. I'm good. How you doing, Beeb?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Welcome aboard, brother. Nice.
Yeah, man. Welcome. I noticed you was ducking my emails, bro. What's going on?
You keep sending it to the wrong email, man. Because I don't have that email on my desktop. I have that other email on my phone, and I have to friggin' like go to a different thing on my thing.
I got you. No worries.
You got to use my Hotmail.
All right. I got you. I'll use the Hotmail. Yeah. So I don't want to be rude and change the subject slightly.
Yeah.
But yo, is your boy Deontay Wilder gonna bankrupt Showtime? What's going on? Did the snake bite the weasel?
Bad move for Wilder to stick with Showtime. If I'm Wilder, and I said this before, he needs to switch over to Fox like everybody else in the PBC stable.
Well, he has. He has. He's gone over to Fox because Showtime aren't going to get the
Oh, he
PPV.
has.
He
Oh,
has,
okay.
yeah. He switched over to Fox because you remember Showtime gave him bumped him up when he got the zone offer, and so
Okay.
they felt obliged to bump him up. So they thought they were buying loyalty. Remember that big loyalty speech when they were talking
Yeah.
about loyalty? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Showtime's finished. Showtime's
Well,
finished, man.
it seems that way because they were talking about loyalty. Deontay Wilder said, "I gotta stay loyal to the people I've been with." And then Espinosa came on and said, "Well, we can't match the zone, sorry, but we certainly have bumped him up significantly. So he got something like 10 million, his first big payday outside of the PPV with Fury.
Yeah.
He got somewhere in the region of 10 million from Showtime when his previous was like, the previous pay bracket was 1 million to 2 million, and so they bumped him up by like to the power of 5. And now he's gone and left him. Is that the snake biting the weasel? That's my question to you.
Well, I mean, it's just smart business. I mean, I think the writing is on the wall for Showtime. I think Bob Arum made a very accurate statement, in my opinion, that Showtime's going to be out of boxing eventually pretty soon. And I think Hearn said the same thing, and I agree with both of them. HBO, Showtime. I just don't think that people go to those networks for sports. Fox is already a sports network. ESPN is already a sports network. It would make more sense for boxing to stick with sports-based networks. The Zone was already a sports platform. ESPN Plus already a sports platform. I don't think the people that subscribe to HBO and Showtime, I don't think the majority of those people care about boxing. So it just doesn't make sense to continue to try to showcase fighters on networks that aren't sports based, in my opinion. I don't know what your take on that is, but I think the writing is on the wall. I think that we're starting to see a trend here, and Showtime has not really been putting on fights. All the big fights have been going over to Fox. So I think Showtime is going to be rendered irrelevant and useless pretty soon when it comes to boxing.
Yeah. Well, this with the move with Deontay leaving Showtime and jumping over to Fox, that's certainly that could be a nail in the coffin. One of the nails in the coffin.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I agree.
yeah. What about the loyalty aspect? No loyalty in the game no more.
No, man, come on now. What about? Let me ask you this now.
Mm.
Look what Hearn has done when it comes to putting all these fights on the Zone more so, and having them all over in the United States, kind of screwing Sky over a little bit. I mean, business is always going to be about money, bro, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I think money trumps everything when it comes to business. I think loyalty is overstated, man. I
Yeah.
think
Well,
loyalty is overstated.
well, I want to
Yeah.
say, Rafi, you made a tremendous point right there. I actually had a confrontation with Wilder. Me and Wilder, we're cool now, but I told Wilder, like, bro, why you didn't? And we did though. Seriously, I got the audio. I got the foot. I think Rafi knows this
You
I
go,
because
don't
you
know.
go
I
over
don't know,
Wilder's
bro.
house for
Tell me
Sunday
more.
dinner, H Money.
I told him about I kind of called Wilder out about the DAZN deal. Beeb. I told him, I said, yo, why not take the money? You know what I mean? That's a lot of money. And he responded like, he's rich already. It's not all about that. And I didn't understand it at the time, but I guess he said that he betted on himself. I guess he said he betted on himself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you still, man, you still got to come get the
But
best
H,
offer.
but H, if he did sign that DAZN deal, it would have been disastrous for him. Why? Because Joshua lost, and now he doesn't get. He's only going to get that money. Like, this is what people don't understand about DAZN. People think, oh, well, this is guaranteed money, blah 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 blah. It really isn't guaranteed money because DAZN is only going to pay you based on your opponent. Like when Canelo fought Rocky Fielding, he got 15 million. He didn't get the same 35, 40 million he got for fighting Jacobs. So
But
the Wilder Joshua fight would not have been guaranteed. It would not have been guaranteed. Joshua did not. Just here's a prime example. GGG signed the zone with the intention that he thought he was going to get the Canelo fight. He didn't get the Canelo fight. So GGG got fucking pissed. And I even heard that GGG was talking about leaving the zone. He was putting pressure on leaving the zone, according to Teddy Atlas. I don't know how true that is. But he was complaining that why did I sign if I can't get the Canelo fight? So everyone thinks, oh well, Wilder was an idiot. They weren't going to pay him that $100 million without those two Joshua fights, and those two Joshua fights were not guaranteed. They were not guaranteed. But just like the Canelo fight was not guaranteed for Golovkin, those two Joshua fights were not guaranteed for Wilder. So now Wilder would have signed. He would have been locked into a 3-fight deal, and he still would have got probably good money, but he would not have gotten the money he should have got. He wouldn't have got the $100 million that he should have got because the Joshua fights were not guaranteed, and they probably would not have happened now for a while because Joshua lost. So did Wilder really make a bad move? Hindsight's 20/20, but based off the recent events and what happened, did Wilder really make a bad move not signing that deal? Because now he's getting more money. Showtime gave him 10. Some people say he got more than the 10. He only got 10. What was only on the books. He probably could have got more in the back end. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. But what's he going to get now moving forward? Now, his stock has considered to rise regardless. So now he could get the winner of Ruiz Joshua now. And be in a stronger position than he would have been if he signed that DAZN deal. And he'll probably get more money in the long run doing what he did by not signing that DAZN deal. So
you won't get more money. You won't get more money. You won't get more money than you won't get more money than DAZN offered. You won't get no money nowhere.
Rafi got you on this. I'm gonna let Rafi handle this.
And I'll explain to you why. Because if you put
Wilder, I'm gonna let Beeb speak first.
If you put Wilder against the Joshua Ruiz winner on Fox pay-per-view, he gets the upfront money plus the back end money. I keep telling people that the DAZN deal gave him no back end money.
So
and that's the problem. So in my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, I could be wrong, but now he's not the B side anymore. You could argue that he's probably the A- side going into a Joshua fight if Joshua wins. And even Eddie Hearn himself said when he asked, would Joshua still be the A side? He said, we're not even worried about A side, B side. We just want to make the fight now. So Eddie Hearn is even coming to
Let me come in, Beeb, man. Let me come in, man.
No, I'm not saying that Joshua's still not the bigger name.
Beeb.
But Wilder's position has improved. It's strengthened. So now he could stand on his own 2 feet without the DAZN deal, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Beeb. Wilder is contractually obliged. Well, Wilder's fighting Ortiz next. Okay, so Stupid fight. He was bragging and boasting.
Stupid move.
He was bragging, and he's becoming more stupid by the second. He was bragging and boasting that we have things in line. We ain't got no time for Joshua. Joshua has to wait. Now look what he's done. Now look what he's done on the chessboard. He's put himself in a bad place on the chessboard. He has to fight Ortiz now. He's probably contractually obliged to do so. Now, PBC, they got Ortiz to decline $7 million from Joshua. A stupid move again. Now,
I agree.
Now PBC and Showtime, now Fox are in a hole because the Fox is in a hole because they probably are now contractually obliged to pay Luis Ortiz way above his grade. Fox are in a bind because they probably promised Luis Ortiz that they're gonna match what Dan's DAZN was offering. Now they got to pay him $7 million or at least $5 million. Now they're in a hole. So now you've got a pay-per-view. Whoever carries that pay-per-view, that Luis Ortiz, that Wilder pay-per-view, they're probably already in the hole with guarantees alone. Because
fair point.
Wilder's going to be asking for ridiculous money because Dan's DAZN raised his pay point or raised his expectations. You can't pay him $1 and $2 million no more. You can't pay him $1 and $2 million no more. So whoever, and it's going to be Fox, carries that pay-per-view is probably already in the hole with guarantees alone. A pay-per-view that nobody wants to pay for. Who wants to pay for a pay-per-view with Wilder versus Ortiz, a fight we've already seen before, 2 years down the line? Luis Ortiz he's been 40 for 10 years, according to Andre Ward on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's been 40 for 10 years.
Thank you.
So a 50-year-old Luis Ortiz demanding $5 to $7 million for contractually obliged for a big guarantee. Whoever carries the pay-per-view is already in the hole. That's one point. Now, after that, Deontay Wilder is contractually. Bob Arum said it the other day. My jaw dropped. Deontay Wilder has a contract with Tyson Fury for 3 fights. It's not 2, it's 3 fights. Remember when I was trying to freeze Joshua out? They said, oh, we're slick now. 3 fights from Bob Arum's own mouth. I can post you up there. I can send you the link. Factual. Bob Arum said there's a 3-fight deal. Ridiculous. They've stuffed themselves. Okay, now, so Wilder is obliged to fight Luis Ortiz first. That's this year. Then, Wilder's a man who's injury prone. He's contractually obliged to fight Tyson Fury sometime next year.
I don't think it happens.
So where's the?
I don't think that fight happens.
Where's the room for unification bout?
I'm gonna give you my opinion.
Okay, I'll let H Money come in next.
This is what I think's gonna happen. I think Fury's gonna be out for about 8 months to a year because of that cut. Number one, I think that cut is really bad, and I don't think that fight's gonna happen in February.
No way in February.
And I'm going to be honest with you. This is what I think is going to happen. Wilder's going to destroy Ortiz. He's going to destroy him. He's going to knock him out in probably about 3 rounds.
5 rounds max. That fight doesn't go beyond 5 rounds.
I agree. Excellent point. I think Wilder gets the Ruiz Joshua winner, and I think he gets bottom end in that fight, $50 million.
He can't fight. He can't take the fight. He's got contractually obliged to fight Ortiz next, and then Fury. And Fury.
Ortiz,
No. Fury's not going to step aside. That's what I'm saying. Fury's not going to step aside.
I think he will. I don't think Fury's going to be ready. I just don't think he's going to be ready. I think this is my opinion. This is what I believe is going to happen. After Wilder beats Ortiz, I think that Wilder versus the Ruiz Joshua winner happens in March or April. That's my prediction. That's my prediction.
That requires.
I think Hearn will bend over backwards this time to make that fight because he realizes, if Joshua wins the rematch, he realizes, you know what? I can't wait any longer. I can't wait any longer on this because he already lost. He could lose again. I think the situation changes, and I don't think the fight. I'm not going to say the fight will be 50-50, but it could be 40. It could be 50-50. But I think at the bottom end, it could be 45-55.
40-60 best. But listen, check this
out.
out.
Not now.
Check this out.
Not now.
With the efforts that Deontay Wilder, the efforts and the lengths that Deontay Wilder and PBC and Shirley Finkel have gone to freeze Joshua out, there can't be no more good feeling on the Joshua side. There cannot be no more good feeling on the Joshua side. There's no bending over. There is no more bending over. Listen, let me just say this. I said it on my show the other day. Never before in the recent history of boxing has an A side made themselves look so weak on the Joshua side. Never before in recent times has the A side made themselves look weak. They were going over to PBC, Wilder, begging them to fight. That cannot happen again because all that did was it empowered Wilder and PBC. Next time around, all they have to do is say, listen, for a start, they got plenty of mandatories lined up. So all they have to do is say, listen, this is the offer. You take it or leave it, or we go and fight our mandatories.
But Ralph,
Carry on.
But Ralph, they've already weakened their position. And I'm going to be honest with you. Deontay Wilder is still in their head because they keep saying that we're not worried about Wilder. We're not worried about Wilder. We're not worried about Wilder right now. But they are worried about Wilder because they keep talking about him and they keep saying we're not worried about him. Wilder is smart because you know what Wilder said? He goes, oh, we'll probably offer Fury step-aside money, blah, 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 blah. He's trying to distract them. He's trying to get in their heads again.
The old games aren't going to work anymore. The old games are not going to work anymore. Listen, how many times can you trick a man?
Joshua's fragile.
How many times can you listen? Trick me once.
Fragile mentally.
Trick me once, shame on you. Trick me twice, shame on me.
Doesn't matter because they're falling for it again. Because by them saying we're not worried about Wilder, that's like saying, okay, when you break up with a girl, right? And then you're with your boys, right? And you're out having a good time with your boys, and just out of the blue, you keep saying you start talking, you're saying, I don't miss that girl, man. I don't miss that girl. Fuck her. I don't need her anymore. I'm with you guys, man. Why would you even say that if you're not thinking about her? Just by you saying that, you thinking about that girl, or you wouldn't even have brought that fucking shit up, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's
the same shit they're doing right now. We're not worried about Wilder. We're not worried about Wilder. Some things are better left unsaid. I'm going to say...
Trick me once, shame on you.
Don't matter.
Trick me twice, shame on me. They're not that stupid.
He's already proven that there's a chink in his armor mentally. He's already proven that.
Yeah, because he's been fighting the best. He's got the best resume out of the heavyweights right now. He's got the better resume than Wilder, and he's got the better resume than Fury.
But he lost to a 20-1 underdog.
Yes. Who else beats Fury? I mean, who else beats Joshua? If he gets past Ruiz the second time around, which is not a given. It is not a given, but if he gets past Ruiz second time around, who else beats Joshua?
Fury outclasses the shit out of him.
Joshua knocks Fury out.
Fury will box circles around Joshua.
Joshua knocks Fury out, and Dubois knocks him out, and Dubois knocks Fury out in 2 years, 18 months.
I disagree wholeheartedly, man.
You don't think that Joshua knocks Sparks out? You saw what Otto Wallin did to Fury in the 12th round. Otto Wallin almost knocked him out.
I don't think he almost knocked him out. I think he stunned him.
Yeah, Otto Wallin almost
knocked out Fury. Fight. You know,
how did you score that fight, guys?
Hey, Beeb.
How did you score that fight?
Beeb, a lineal champion.
How did you score that fight, guys?
Three rounds to Wallin.
Okay, so you mean did Fury dominate that fight on the scorecards?
Yeah.
Is that fight even close?
Can you guys hear me?
No. The fight was not particularly close, but let's not try and diminish what Wallin did.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all.
What Wallin did was
take anything away from what Wallin did, but
what Wallin did was he gave people hope because
he won 2 rounds.
He won
2 rounds on my scorecard.
Okay,
and he's getting too much credit because he cut Fury's eye. He's getting too much credit for that. He cut
Fury's eye early, and then he wobbled him in the 12th round.
He did. He wobbled him. You heard him.
In the 12th round.
He made him hold.
Yeah. Now Joshua knocks him out. Joshua knocks Fury out.
But Povetkin made Joshua hold too.
Yeah. But Povetkin's a ex-world champion, Olympic gold medalist. Povetkin has been underrated. Povetkin is better than Ortiz.
It's arguable.
It's arguable. Everything's arguable. Everything's arguable.
Povetkin's an old guy too.
Yeah.
And here's the problem. Here's the problem with the Joshua Ruiz situation. If you go back and you look, when Joshua knocked out Povetkin, he landed almost the identical combination that knocked out Povetkin. He landed that same combination on Ruiz, and Ruiz got up from it. And then when Ruiz got up, he landed another monstrous right hand, that same right hand that knocked out Brazil. So these punches that knocked out other guys, Ruiz got up from and ended up rallying back and hurting Joshua.
So let me ask you a question. So let me ask you a question. If Joshua didn't have Wilder in his head and didn't rush in after he dropped Ruiz, do you agree it would have been most likely a totally different fight?
Honestly, Ralph,
yeah,
I don't.
Do you agree that the turning point in that fight was when Joshua rushed in after he dropped Ruiz because he had Wilder in his head?
No, because what happened was, if you notice, Joshua went back out to reset, and he didn't realize, he thought Ruiz was more hurt than he was after he landed the right hand. And this is the problem. He relaxed for a second. Go back and watch it. He relaxed for a second, was getting ready to reset, to come back in for another attack, and watch what Ruiz does. Ruiz jumps at him. He's not used to people jumping back at him after he hurts them. So he wasn't prepared for that. That's my opinion. That's my thought.
And my thought is,
watch it. Go back and watch it.
Bro, I did a live show on it. So my thought is that when he dropped Ruiz, I said, do not rush in.
He didn't. He went and reset.
Hold on a second. I said, no, that's your perspective. I'm giving you my perspective. I did a live show on it. Oh, so I said,
I disagree.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, bro. I'm just giving you my perspective.
So I respect it.
So I said, do not rush in, because I knew he was going to rush in, because I said he did. Because I said during the stream before the fight, I said Wilder is in his head. I hope he doesn't go out.
Still in his head.
I said I hope he doesn't go out and try to better what Wilder did against Breezel, because
that did. I will agree. That played a factor in it.
That played a factor. And so the thing is this, Beeb, give me a chance. The thing is this. So in my opinion, and in the opinion of many, even if it's not yours, in the opinion of many, Wilder's knockout, Wilder's destruction of Breezel was in Joshua's head. And instead of doing his usual game and making sure that the person playing his methodical game like he did against Breezel, making sure that his opposition is nice and cooked, give him a slow roast. Slow roast. Instead of slow roasting Ruiz, what does he do? Jumps right back in, and that changed the whole perspective of the game, and that changed history. The fact that he was thinking about what Wilder did to Brazil changed history.
Well, I would like to say that DAZN offered Deontay Wilder a 4-fight deal worth $120 million, guaranteed $20 million for Dominic Brazil, B. Guaranteed $20 million for Dominic Brazil. Why fight on Showtime for half the money? You know what I mean? He could have fought Brazil. He could have got the shot with Joshua. In the contract was a fight against Joshua, 2 fights back to back with a rematch clause. He could have had a 4-fight deal, bro. But I see what you're saying, B, because you said now since Joshua has lost, so now Wilder, his stock has went up, which makes sense. I understand that. But we got to think Wilder is 34 years old now. He's going on 35. This guy's only getting older. Joshua is getting younger, B. So we want to see the fights when it's supposed to happen. We don't want to wait too long.
But we never see the fights when it's supposed to happen. History has shown us that. We hardly ever see the fights when we want them. We see the fights when they want them. And let me just jump in and interrupt you real quick. I apologize for interrupting you. But you guys keep forgetting. You have to look at empirical data. You cannot ignore empirical data. Golovkin signed that deal with DAZN with the intention that he would fight Canelo. Okay? He's not fighting Canelo, guys. So who's to say that Joshua would have fought Wilder? Joshua did not. Joshua has a fight-to-fight deal with the zone. He's not locked in. He
Look,
can
we
shop
know.
around. He did not sign any paperwork that stated, I have to fight Wilder. So there was no reason or no legal obligation that he had to fight Wilder. So that fight, I don't care what people say, that $100 million offer was not guaranteed money because the Wilder Joshua fights were not guaranteed. There was no paperwork specifically on those fights.
Well, it was documented that Wilder was supposed to receive 40 million.
Correct.
But
40.
if
Thank
the
you.
fights,
No,
but he's
I
not
want
getting
Rocky
the
to take
40
over.
million if
Rocky,
the
take
fights
over,
don't
Rocky.
happen.
Okay,
He's not getting the 40 million if the fights don't happen.
So Wilder,
That's what you keep making. That's what you guys keep missing.
So
He's not getting the fights if he's not getting the 40 million each if those two fights don't happen.
so if Wilder signs the contract for the 20 million for Brazil, 40 for the first Joshua fight, and 40 for the next Joshua fight. If he signs those contracts, but Joshua hasn't signed those contracts, then it's not legally binding.
It's not.
So if it's not legally binding, that means he's not tied into anything. So he's free to fight where.
He's tied into a 3-fight deal.
No. You agreed, no, hold on. You just agreed that if Wilder signed the contract, but Joshua hasn't signed the contract, then it's not legally binding. You agreed to that. So therefore,
the fights
if he's
with Joshua are not legally binding.
right,
But they would have locked him in for 3. They wanted him for 3 fights.
Oh yeah, they wanted him for 3 fights, but if he signed the contract to fight Joshua, but Joshua had not
They
signed
would
the
have had him
contract.
fight somebody, just like Canelo, just like Golovkin's not fighting Canelo. Who's he fighting?
Okay. So
Canelo's fighting somebody else. He's not fighting Canelo, right?
So the worst case scenario is that he fights Breezel for 20 million. That's double
Correct.
what he got. And then he fights somebody else for 40, and then somebody else for 40.
No. There's no guarantee they're going to give him 40 for another opponent other than Joshua. Because again, Canelo fought Fielding for 15 million.
Okay.
But Canelo got 40 million for Jacobs.
Okay, right. Fine.
They don't give you. This is
so
what
Wilder
people
is
don't
not going to
understand.
sign the 40 million contract if it's not 40 mil.
Because it's not guaranteed money. It's based on the opponent.
How do you know that it's not guaranteed money, bro?
Because the empirical data, and Bob Arum told me the same thing. When I went to Bob Arum and asked about the $100 million for Fury, he said that was a lie.
We know it's a lie. We know that's a lie. We know that's a lie. That's a bull. That's
You're
a
not going to
BS
get
figure.
paid. You're not going to get paid $40 million to fight someone else other than Joshua. It's
Okay,
not feasible.
but then he's with PBC. They have their lawyers look over the paperwork and they say, okay, is this or is this not $40 million?
They would have locked him in like they locked in Golovkin, like they locked in Canelo.
No, but I'm
They would
asking you
have
a
locked
specific
him in.
question. No, but I'm asking you a specific question.
Could they have lawyers look at the contract?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sure
And
they
so
could.
they would have said, right, okay, so we need this 40 million guaranteed.
But that's not how the deal. This is what Bob Arum told me. He says you get a contract, okay, and there's going to be stipulations. The same thing with Alida Alvarez. If you don't, Andre Ward said the same thing. If you don't win, you don't get paid. If you don't fight certain guys, you don't get the same money. They're not going to give him $40 million to fight somebody else. Just
Okay,
like
so
they didn't give Canelo $40 million to fight Rocky Fielding. You
Okay.
have to look at the empirical data, gentlemen.
Okay, so
you have to look at there's no way on God's green earth, they were going to give him $40 million to fight Luis Ortiz. It wasn't going to happen.
Okay, so Wilder signs a contract. Wilder signs a 3-fight contract. The first fight is Breezel. Okay? And then on the second fight, he stipulates that second fight will be with Joshua within a certain time frame. Also in the contract, if it's not already in there, his lawyers have the stipulation that the third fight will be within a certain time frame to fight a specific opponent by the name of Joshua. That's a very easy fix. Now, if that
It's
fight,
not that simplistic. I keep telling you guys, contracts are not that simplistic.
Okay,
Contract law is not that simplistic.
Okay, so
you guys have a tendency. I hate to interrupt you. You guys have a tendency of oversimplifying these things.
But B, we've been here before. We've been here with Ruiz. You and I have been here before with the Ruiz contract. You said it wouldn't happen. You said it wasn't enforceable, and it was enforceable. It is happening.
We've been here with Canelo Golovkin. The fight didn't happen, guys.
We've been here with. I'm speaking about specifically with the zone contracts. We've been here with Ruiz Joshua. You said that you've gone blurry. Okay, you're good now. Right. You said that the contract was not enforceable and the fight wouldn't happen unless they met Ruiz's stipulations. Now the fight.
I didn't say that. I said that the negotiations could get dragged out.
Okay, right. So what we found out,
which they did.
What we found, yeah, a little bit. So what we found out that all Eddie Hearn had to do, which is what he did, was he said, "Okay, listen, we've spoken to you, we've told you what it is. Now you either fulfill the terms of the contract, or we're going back to court." So what happened? Eddie gave him a little time. He got more cocky. He said, "It's 50 million or nothing. We're the inside now. We call the shots." Eddie simply instructed his lawyers to file a suit, and the next day, Ruiz said, "Now we're all good." We're all good, bro. Let's go. We're all good. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
I remember you was telling him, man. I remember you telling him not to fight, don't take the fight. But Eddie Hearn told me he's gonna sue his ass.
I never said don't take the fight.
No, you didn't say that. I'm sorry, you didn't say that. I'll take that back. But you said something like you know what I mean? You said something about he could sue. He could sue. You said something about sue. You know what I mean?
I didn't say that
no,
either.
You said
I didn't
he can
say
be
that
sued.
either.
Come on, Beeb. Come on, Beeb.
Wait, I'm wrong. Beeb said Andy Ruiz can be sued. That's what he did say.
Yeah.
And Eddie Hearn, he
could be sued.
That's what you said.
I agree.
It's
so
true.
Then, when Eddie Hearn was going to sue him, he agreed to the fight the next day, like Rafi said.
Yep.
Let's be honest, guys. Did any of us ever? We all had speculations. We all had predictions on what was going to happen. Did any of us ever think this thing would play out the way it did? That these two men would be fighting in Saudi Arabia right now? Could anyone have predicted this?
Well,
everyone was wrong.
No. Go on, Hayes. Go on, Hayes.
Can I say one thing?
Everyone, to some degree, was wrong here, because most of the people from the UK said that this fight was definitely going to be in the UK. They were wrong. Most of these people. Wait a minute. Most of these people from America said that this fight was likely going to be in the United States. We were wrong. So I think everyone was wrong here, because I think Eddie Hearn threw us a curveball by putting this fight in Saudi Arabia. That's just my opinion.
I just want to say this. Well, like, if a fight is obligated, if you sign your name to a fight, it's a contract. You know what I mean? You have to do it. Like, if Wilder signed the fight with on that contract to fight Anthony Joshua, it was 2 fights, 40 million. He was guaranteed.
Yes.
The fight was going to happen. He was going to get sued. Somebody was going to get sued.
Yes.
How could the fight with Joshua happen?
Okay, so
how come the Canelo fight with Golovkin didn't happen?
Like I said before, Beeb, please. Like, in the contract.
No one's answered my question about Golovkin Canelo. Why didn't that fight happen?
Please, I'm talking about recent history now with the Zone and Joshua. Right now, we have precedent. We have information now. We have information about how this shizzle goes down. You have a contract with two. We have a contract with 2 men's names on. Now, let's look at the Ruiz case. The Americans thought it's not enforceable. It's not an enforceable.
I said that there was going to be problems enforcing it. Okay. The contract was not enforced with 100% the way it was supposed to be enforced. There was concessions and stipulations made to the contract.
Okay, so what happened was,
I was right on that part. I said that adjustments and stipulations and concessions were going to be made. You guys kept saying
right.
No.
Rafi, he did say that. Rafi, he is right. He was right about that.
That's cool.
I was right about that.
Let me say what I'm saying. So many Americans, many Americans felt that the contract was not enforceable. What happened is that Eddie Hearn threw Ruiz another couple mil, which is what I said would happen. We discussed this on your show,
You said it.
We discussed this on your show with the Mexican American chap. What's his name? D-Style.
You said
I said $2 million more. I said specifically throw Eddie Hearn. All Eddie Hearn needs to do. I said it on your show. I said it on my show. All Eddie Hearn needs to do is say, listen, son. We're gonna give you. Listen, come to the next contract negotiation with a bag. Matter of fact, make it two bags, two big bags. And then Ruiz would say, well, how much money does a bag hold? And he'd say 1 million. Come with 2 bags. Eddie Hearn threw him 2 extra million and threatened him with going back to court. And Ruiz said, no problem. Oh, I am there.
Which we both predicted was going to happen. We both
which is what I said would happen.
You know what? We both predicted he was holding out for more money.
Yeah.
And we both predicted he was going to get it. So
2 million. No, well, 2 million more. 2 million more. People were talking ridiculous. People talking ridiculous figures like he needs to get the 50 million. I said, listen, 2 million more. 2 million more, and the problem is solved. 2 million more, and the lawsuit, and the problem is solved. Come in H money.
Right, Rafi. He still ducked the UK. He was still able to duck the UK. So that's what Beeb is saying.
He was but no. Let me put some perspective on that. So everybody has this perspective that Ruiz had success in ducking the UK, but do you know who the real winner was? It was Eddie Hearn. With Ruiz ducking the UK, Eddie Hearn said, "Okay, mate, we'll agree to your concessions." Boom, fly over to Saudi Arabia where the money was more.
But Eddie Hearn was in a no-lose situation because you know why? At the end of the day, Eddie Hearn's the promoter. Is there any way that this fight and this promotion will fail? Is there any way this will not be a success?
Let me give you this hypothesis.
So Eddie Hearn is smart in one regard. Now, concessions were made, but at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn can't lose.
Let me give you this hypothesis. Let me give you this hypothesis. Okay, so Eddie Hearn is not contractually obliged, but he's obliged in the eyes of the British fans to have the rematch in the UK. That's one. Ruiz, but in the background, he's got these Saudi Arabians saying, bro, come over here. We're building a stadium. We're going to give you more money for this fight than anyone can. Anyone can. Now, Eddie Hearn is in a bind. This is my hypothesis. Eddie Hearn is in a bind. Give the British fans what they expect, which is the rematch in the UK, or go for the money over in Saudi. More money than anywhere else on planet Earth. But he can't just do that. He can't say, no, forget you, British fans. Forget you. We're going over to Saudi. He can't do that. But what happens? Andy Ruiz plays into his hands. Andy Ruiz says, no, I'm not fighting in the UK. I don't trust it over there. Eddie Hearn goes almost the next day. What does Eddie Hearn say? Okay, since you don't want to, Andy Ruiz doesn't want to fight in the UK, so we're going to take it over to neutral ground. Let's see. Let's have a look at the map. Let's spin the map and see where it lands. Oh, Saudi Arabia. Okay, so we'll take it to Saudi Arabia. Andy Ruiz played right into Eddie Hearn's hands, and he gave him the excuse to take the fight to the place that was offering the biggest money. And that place, that place. Of course, we know that because that's where it is. Of course, we know that's the biggest money.
Eddie Hearn said that. Eddie Hearn himself said that it wasn't the biggest money.
Where else would be the biggest money?
United States.
No. United States doesn't have the money that Saudi Arabia has. He took it to the place.
Did you hear what you just said?
Yeah, I did.
Did you hear what you just said? You said the largest economy in the world does not have the money that Saudi Arabia has.
Saudi Arabia has
doesn't make sense.
Saudi Arabia have princes who will pay that money out of their back pocket. That's who it's been funded by. It's been funded by oil princes.
Eddie Hearn did not. Eddie Hearn said it was more money than the UK, but he did not confirm when asked, was it more money than the United States?
Nor did he deny.
He said it was. He said that the United States
He
possibly
did not
could still
say.
be
He
more.
did not say. He did not say United States were paying bigger money than Saudi.
He didn't say they weren't either.
No, he didn't
But he
confirm
did say,
or deny.
But he did say that they were paying more than the UK.
Yes. So let's look at the logic. Let's be logical.
So we don't know with 100% certainty.
Let us be logical. Let us be logical.
I will be logical.
You're a promoter. Where are you going to take the fight? You're going to take the fight to the place that's offering the biggest money. It's very simple.
That's not true.
Why would you not? Why would you not?
Because he is looking at this is what I explained to you before, and I don't know why this didn't sink through. He doesn't feel confident that Joshua could win in the United States.
Why would he have a bigger chance of winning in Saudi Arabia than the United States?
Because they feel as though that he lost in the United States. So given the track record, he doesn't have success. He doesn't have success fighting in the United States. These are Eddie Hearn's words. They were never. They were not going to put that fight. They were not. That's what he said.
What did he say?
He said, "This is what Eddie Hearn said." He goes, "We know you can win in the UK, but we don't know if you can win in the United States." He was willing to put the fight in the UK and lose money. When
not
Saudi
lose money.
Arabia,
Not lose.
Wait a minute. When Saudi Arabia wasn't even on the table, and United States.
As far as we know. As far as we know. When
they were not on the table, and it was between UK and United States, he was willing to lose money and put the fight in the UK over the United States because he felt Joshua's chances of winning were better. So he's looking at the long game, and he needs, in order for Joshua to maximize his earning potential, he needs to beat Ruiz so then he can go in and have those mega fights with Fury and Wilder. So he's looking at the long game.
He's looking at the long game.
He's looking at the long game.
He's looking at the long game, and as we know, even with Dan's, they were prepared to overpay. Okay, the Zone were initially prepared to overpay. They're stop now. Same way, and in the same way that the Zone were willing to overpay, now Saudi Arabia is willing to overpay. That's my hypothesis. That is my hypothesis.
We still don't know with 100% certainty that money would be more than a fight in the United States.
We do not know that, but we can certainly logic dictates.
It's not logical. It's not logical because the Zone wanted that fight in New York. They would have done whatever it took to put that fight in New York.
Okay, so how much did Ruiz get paid for the first fight? $5 million. He got paid $5 million for the first fight.
He got paid $4 million, but I don't know.
Probably got paid $4 million. All right. Joshua got reputed $30 million. All right. So that's 30 plus.
They said he got 25.
Okay. 25 plus 4 or 5. That's 30 million. That was a 30 million purse.
Sure.
Now we have a bag which is what, almost double that in Saudi Arabia.
I don't know what the figures are.
Okay, but Ruiz, significantly greater.
So Ruiz is getting 12.
Yeah,
and
10
Joshua's
or 12.
Probably getting 30.
Yeah. So what's that?
So
that's 40. That's 42. In comparison, yeah. So it's a bigger bag. It's a bigger bag. It's a bigger
fight because of the magnitude of the fight.
It's a bigger fight, and it's a bigger.
There was no way the fight was ever going to be small based off of the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. We agree on that. We agree on that. So it's a bigger bag. It's a bigger fight, and it's a bigger bag. And they're taking it over to Saudi. And what are we arguing about? I don't know what we're arguing about. Are we arguing?
I think that if Ruiz agreed to go to the UK, the fight would have been in the UK. That's just I believe Eddie Hearn that money was not the biggest factor here. The biggest factor here was creating the best environment that they believed could ensure Joshua a victory, while not losing money in the process.
Right.
That's my opinion on it.
Right. So
everyone keeps this whole thing about Saudi being the biggest money, but I don't believe that. In my opinion,
let's just say we don't know. We don't
know factually.
Let's agree that we don't know.
We don't know.
Okay.
We can only speculate.
And so we can't say it is, and we can't say it isn't.
Yeah, but I still have my opinion that I think the most money could have been made in New York.
We all have our opinion. My opinion is that Saudi are offering the biggest, but I don't know. You believe that the biggest money could have been made in New York, but we don't know.
I think the Zone, who has a history of overpaying, or not overpaying, but giving astronomical amounts of money.
That's overpaying. That's overpaying.
I don't like to use the term overpaying when it comes to fighters at all, because
Well, I hear you. I hear you.
if a fighter can get $1 billion, I would say give him $1 billion.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think
I'm on that page.
That's my
I'm on that
take on
page.
it. Yeah, that's my take on it.
I'm on that page.
The zone, they pay fighters what they're worth, and it's a great thing that they're paying fighters this money.
You're worth whatever you can negotiate.
Yeah,
that's what I've always said.
Yeah,
it's great.
So the zone has a history of putting up astronomical money for fighters and fights that they want. They really wanted this fight in the United States. I think they would have given any amount of money they could to get this fight in the United States. That's just my opinion.
So what we know now is that the zone have come out and said that they're not going to overpay anymore.
Now they have said that, yeah.
They have said they're not overpaying no more. So here is the repercussion. Here is the repercussion.
They got their rosters.
This is the thing. This is what they said. Now, obviously, the people that they have on board right now, they're gonna continue to get paid.
Oh yeah, we're talking about going forward.
They're saying moving forward.
Moving forward, yeah.
Moving forward with new fighters.
Yeah.
So whenever they're going out and pursuing new fighters now, these fighters are not going to be able to get the same deal that Canelo got, that Golovkin got.
Correct.
But Joshua's on a fight to fight.
Yeah.
If he wins against Ruiz, they're always going to have to pay him big.
Oh, for certain fighters, they're still going to get the oversized bag.
Who else is left to go out and get now?
Well, Wilder.
Yeah, but they'll never get Wilder.
They'll never get Wilder. And what I'm saying is the implications of what I'm saying, or the implications of what DAZN has said. DAZN, without having Wilder on their roster, increased his pay scale.
So he won by not signing with them.
He won for a while, but now that they're saying we're not overpaying anymore, the bubble is about to burst. Hypothetically, theoretically.
You know what we're going to find? In my opinion, Wilder's going to get the winner of Ruiz Joshua, and it's going to happen, like I said, March or April.
No way, but carry on.
When you see the amount of money Wilder gets in that fight, just like everyone was saying Mayweather was an idiot for not taking the guaranteed $25 million when it was offered for Pacquiao. And then he ended up making upwards of $200 million because he waited. The same, again, empirical data, history. History has shown us in a lot of, it was stupid to wait because Joshua ended up losing.
Yeah.
But I agree with Eddie Hearn, if Joshua does win against Ruiz, the fight with Wilder is bigger than it would have been. The fight with Wilder, if Joshua wins, will continue to get bigger. So Joshua is going to win. Wilder's going to win. He will prove to have made the right decision by not signing, by waiting and by holding out.
And he may have made the wrong decision.
It depends. If he fights the winner of that fight, he's going to get paid.
Which contractually he cannot. We don't know the terms. We do know.
We don't know the terms of. Now this is the problem. If Tyson Fury cannot be ready by February because of the cut, then the fight can't happen.
If Tyson Fury is not ready by April because of the cut, by February because of the cut, he'll fight him in April.
That's not true. We don't know that.
He'll most likely fight him in April.
We don't know what that contract entails. We don't know if there's a stipulation that has to be his next fight, or he can't fight anyone else.
We do know that Deontay Wilder has said Tyson Fury will not step aside. And so from that statement, we do know that Deontay Wilder has to fight Tyson Fury after Ortiz.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, listen, we can see from his statement, Deontay Wilder has said that we've asked Tyson Fury to step aside and he will not. Now, the clear implication of that is that he cannot fight anyone other than Tyson Fury after the Ortiz fight.
It hasn't been confirmed, though.
No, but from the statement, we can deduce that. We have the powers of deduction. And if the man is saying...
But again, Bob Arum says a lot of things that he's been wrong about.
But Deontay, this is coming from Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder himself has clearly stated...
That was before the cut.
That was before the cut. I think, you're probably right. That was before the cut. That was before the cut, but he said that Tyson Fury will not step aside. And so logic dictates. I
But
put it to you, Beeb. I put it to you that logic dictates. The meaning of that is that they have to fight Tyson Fury
Fury's
after.
also said that he wouldn't mind seeing a unification fight happen.
He said
And
that
then-
prior.
And then he said that he wouldn't mind waiting in that. This
Yeah,
is the problem.
he did
this
say
is the
that.
problem. This is the problem. Bob Arum has a history of lying. He's admitted it. Yesterday I'm telling the truth. Today I'm lying. So his credibility is questionable.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury also has a questionable credibility because he said he was going to fight Dillian White. He pulled out of that.
He said a lot of things.
Tyson Fury will accept the step aside money if it's offered. He'll be advised. He'll be advised to. This is what will happen.
That's your hypothesis.
This is my hypothesis.
Yeah.
This is my hypothesis. He's going to be counseled. Listen, you just suffered a bad cut. Why risk it reopening again? Why not give this cut as much time as possible to heal? Let him fight the winner of that fight. You fight the winner. Then the fight with Wilder's even bigger because then you'll be fighting the unified heavyweight champion if he wins instead of a guy who's not unified. So you make more money. First of all, you're getting paid step aside to do nothing. Then you're going to get paid even more money to fight a unified champ as opposed to a champ who's not unified. So by waiting, you make more money, and you give your cut more time to heal. It only makes sense for him to step aside.
He's not going to step aside. He's not going to step aside. He's not going to step aside. Deontay Wilder said we offered him step aside money, and he hasn't stepped aside.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
But again, Tyson Fury says one thing one day, and then does another. Has Tyson Fury have a history of keeping his word? Yes or no?
Of course he's
I'll
not.
I'll take by that laugh.
Not.
That's a no.
That's a no.
So he'll step aside because again, why not fight the winner? Why not why not be involved in a unification fight? Why not why not double dip? First of all, get paid twice for doing nothing.
What Tyson Fury will do is in my opinion, my hypothesis is different to yours. What Tyson Fury will do is he'll act as the spoiler. So
no,
he'll act as why not? Why would Tyson Fury do anything to benefit Deontay Wilder? Why would he do that?
Tyson Fury's an older guy.
Yeah,
I don't care what Tyson Fury says. 30? Listen to me.
Yeah,
Tyson Fury already showed. No matter what he says, no matter what anyone says, money always trumps everything.
Yeah.
He went to ESPN to fight easier guys, to get paid big guaranteed money, and he avoided Deontay Wilder.
Yes, he did.
He already showed us, history has shown us that he did it once.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would he need to do it again, Raph?
I'll tell you
why the fuck wouldn't he do it again if he already did it once?
I'll tell you why.
He already did it once, Raph.
I'll tell you why.
Why the fuck wouldn't he do it twice, Raph?
I'll tell you why, Beeb. I'll tell you why.
He already did it once. Why wouldn't he do it again?
Beeb. Are you gonna drive your? Let's bring girls back into the hypothesis again. Let's bring a girl scenario into this.
He already did it once, Ralph.
Listen,
a bear shits in the wood. Wait a minute. A bear's not going to go and shit in the woods one time when he has to go to the bathroom, right, Ralph? A bear's going to go back to the woods and shit when he has to shit, right?
Yeah. Okay,
why would he change? That's what a bear does. He shits in the woods. What does Tyson Fury do? He does what's best for Tyson Fury. As he should.
Yeah, as he should. And this is my point. Now, are you going to drive your ex-girl that you still like to a new boyfriend's house? Answer yes or no, Beep. Huh? Yes or no, Beep?
Would I drive?
Your ex-girlfriend who you still like.
Yeah. If I had a better... Yeah, you know what? You know why? You know why? Because if I had a better piece of ass waiting for me at my house, I would. I would if I had a better piece of ass waiting for me at my house. I would.
No, you're just.
And I would say, go fuck yourself.
No. You're just recovering from an operation, Beeb. Your back is broke. You're just recovering from an operation. Yeah.
And my new girl's a nurse.
No. You ain't got no. No, there's no.
She knows how to take care of me.
There is no new ass. You got a broken back. You're
recovering. How do you know that?
You're recovering from a broken back. You just come out of the hospital. Are you? You got no ass.
Now you're switching it up.
No. Are you going to drive your ex? Listen, Tyson. The analogy is good. Tyson is recovering from an injury. You got an injury. Are you going to drive your ex-girl to her new man's house?
Yes. If I have a better piece of ass waiting.
No, there's no better piece of ass. You got a broken back, you recover.
He does. Tyson Fury has a better piece of ass. You know why?
Why?
Because he's getting paid. He'll be getting paid millions of dollars to do nothing. And then when he does fight Wilder, it'll be for a unification fight. So yes, I would, because you use the word ex. She's not my girlfriend anymore. She's my ex-girlfriend. She's my ex-girlfriend. She's my ex-girlfriend for a reason. Why is she my ex-girlfriend?
She dumped you. She dumped you. You didn't dump her. She dumped you.
So why would I go back to a bitch that dumped me? I can't trust her. I can't trust her. I'm blowing holes through your analogy, man. Come on, I'm killing you. I'm killing you, bro.
No, you're just not playing the game properly. You're just not playing the game properly. You're cheating. You're cheating. You got cards up your sleeve.
Funny you say that, because my ex-girlfriend, there has been ex-girlfriends that did want me back when I had a better piece of ass waiting for me. So I said, "Fuck you. Why am I going to go back to you?" I'll throw you. I'll give you a twirl every now and then, but you ain't coming back. You ain't coming back.
Okay, and so here's you kind of blew some holes in that. You kind of blew some holes in that.
Blew some holes through that. Bro.
So you kind of blew some holes in that. I'll give you that. So let's get back to real life now. Let's get back to reality. Tyson Fury is gonna act as the spoiler. Why is Tyson Fury gonna do favors for Deontay Wilder? Hell to the no, to the no.
Fury is doing favors for himself. He gets paid to do nothing, number one. Then number two, the fight is bigger because it's a unification fight. Then he gets more money by waiting. That's the thing. He gets more money by waiting. It's the no-lose situation. That's the most logical scenario.
That's the most logical scenario, Beeb. Since when has this been a game of logic? Since when has this been a game of logic? That's the most logical. Logic is
always going to be present.
That's the game of logic.
We have to always try. Okay, Ralph, we always have to try to apply logic. It's all we have
to try to apply logic. But come on, this game of boxing is not logical. Come on, let's not pretend it's logical. It's a lot of things. Logical is not one of them. If it were logical, Deontay Wilder would not be fighting.
Robert Palmer just made a statement that makes zero sense. He said if Fury waited for Wilder to fight the winner of Joshua Ruiz, it wouldn't be for unification. Why would it not be a unification?
He's talking about mandatories. He's talking about mandatory requirements.
No, he's saying if they fought, it wouldn't be a unification. Of course it would be if Wilder.
He's talking about mandatory. He's saying that he's basically saying that whoever wins is going to have a mandatory fight first, either from the IBF who are saying that they want a mandatory, or the WBO. There's two outstanding mandatories being called. Now I know what you're going to say. You're going to say unification trumps mandatories. Customarily, it is the custom that happens, but it's not legal.
Robert Palmer is correct. It wouldn't be unification. He would be. What I meant to say is he would be fighting for the undisputed titles instead of just one title.
Yeah.
He would have all four belts. That's correct, yeah. Robert Palmer. That's what I meant to say. Robert Palmer, you are correct. I apologize.
So it would be for.
So you make more money if the fight is for four belts instead of one. Was my point I was trying to make, Robert Palmer.
Yeah. Well, we're at an impasse. So we both think
you'd be fighting a unified titleist instead of a single belt titleist.
Yeah,
is what I meant to say.
Yeah, so we're at an impasse. You have one opinion, and I have another. You believe that Tyson Fury will step aside.
He will.
I believe that. Can we have a vote in the people? Can we have a vote in the chat?
Yeah, let's have a vote. Does Tyson Fury fight Wilder if Wilder beats Ortiz, or does Wilder fight the winner of Joshua Ruiz?
Yeah, it takes them a few seconds for us to see what they're saying. So to reiterate.
Remember the scenario I put forth?
To reiterate, the question is, does Tyson Fury step aside step aside money from Wilder to clear the way for what is it? What are we saying? Unification? Not unification.
No, for undisputed fight.
Undisputed. Jose Mendoza says no, he does not. Come on, people.
Palmer says it's 50-50.
Palmer says it's 50-50. So that's not a yes.
It's not a yes.
It's not a yes. So come on, guys. Come on, guys. We need to know your thoughts on this
Ralphie
question.
wants validation, bro.
MB says no.
Beep.
MB say that's two. That's three no's.
That's
Really.
fine.
That's three no's. That's three no's. Come on. Let's speak the truth. No
Nobody
chance.
sees it.
No chance.
Everyone agrees with Ralph.
Yo, come on. Let's speak the truth now.
We'll
let's
give
speak
Ralph
the truth
hey,
now.
Ralph, you'll get the W here, man. If
Come on,
agrees.
people. Keep them coming. We've only had 3 votes. Come on. Young Merv says it's money and cut, so he's going to step aside. That's 1 for you. That's 2 for you. You're waiting. You're waiting. That's 2 for you.
I got
3 for me.
Now. I got Burgess. I got Merv. I got JC.
I can't even see. Oh, Burgess.
I got JC. I got 3 now.
You got these 3 each.
I'm winning.
No, you're not winning. I got 3 too.
You have 3?
Yeah, because the first guy said it's 50-50.
We'll give you the 50-50. Yeah.
Don't give us no damn different scenarios. Just give us one answer to the question. That's 4.
Got another one.
That's
I'm
4.
winning.
That's 4-3.
4-3.
That's 4-3. That's still JC. That's still 4-3.
These are my people, though, man. You know, it's my.
Yeah,
channel,
but it's not about whose people they are. We're just asking a simple question.
No, but if I was on your channel, I'd probably get destroyed.
No, not over there, because I just want the truth. I just want to know what people feel. I don't know that. I want to know what people feel.
Fury told us before that he was gonna rematch Wilder, and what did he do? He signed with ESPN.
Yeah.
And he went and fought fucking.
Go on, say what he was gonna say. He ran. Go on, say it. Say it. There ain't no truth in saying it.
That's my man. I can't talk about him like that. I can't talk about him like that, man. We send each other Christmas cards. I can't diss him like that.
Brooklyn Charles says, you know, I don't answer questions. That is true. That is true. Okay, Beeb. I think. Did you win by 1?
It won by 1.
I think you won by 1, Beeb. You won by 1. So people, the majority of people by a slim, but it's so slim, it's 50-50. It's 60-40.
60-40.
It's 60-40. So by a slight majority, people agree with your view. By a very slight majority, people agree with your view that Tyson Fury would accept step-aside money. You comfortable with that margin, Beeb?
Well, I mean,
is that comfortable? Is that a comfortable margin, Beeb?
Of course, we'll take it. Anytime I can get a W over you, man, of course I'll take it. Kidding me? Trying to get you. Oh, I got another one, man. I got 5, man.
Was that Brooklyn Child?
Yeah, he switched.
No. That's Brooklyn Child, man. I spank him on my channel on a regular basis, so that don't count. I'm joking, Brooklyn. I'm joking. Brooklyn Child is a
I gotta talk to Eric, Ralph. I gotta talk to Eric.
Yo, bro, I'm out.
When we do the Sunday show,
yeah,
gotta put you on one of these days if you want.
Yeah, put me on Streamlabs. That's if you got Streamlabs now, I can jump on. That's no problem whatsoever. But Beeb, I gotta crack on my day, my friend. It was good talking to you.
Always
over
a pleasure,
there,
man.
You gotta return the compliment and come back on my show.
I'll come over next time you're on.
Come over, bro. Come over. Anyway, peace out to you, Beeb. Peace out to the chat. I am out.
Peace out, everybody. All right, guys. So we got some company today, man. Obviously, the topic switched, but it was still good debate. Still good talk. So let's wrap it up, because I'm getting ready to run out and do some stuff today before I watch this fight tonight. Let's wrap it up. What do we have here for tonight's predictions? I'm saying Spence by 9th round stop. Spence by 9th round stoppage. That's my pick tonight. Everybody give me your picks in the chat. Will Spence? JC says Spence by KO. I think the fight doesn't go the distance. A lot of people are going to pick decision. I think the fight ends in knockout. No, okay, Benavidez KO in 6. Yeah, I got Benavidez KO in 6 too. I'm going to say Benavidez KO in 7. All right, Spence points or late stop. Well, you got to pick one or the other, man. We're putting a gun to your head. You got to pick one or the other. Wow, Mendoza's picking Porter. Wow. We're putting a gun to your head. You got to pick one or the other. You got a gun to your head. It's one or the other. Okay, stoppage. Remember, you bet Spence by knockout. You get a plus 180, guys. Merv is saying stoppage as well. So beating the odds with Beeb, you get a plus 180. That's the recommendation. Batman says decision. So we got a lot of stoppages here. Thank you, Brooklyn Child. Excellent show, Beeb. He says, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much, man. And again, I'm not shy in asking for super chats, because again, you know, we pay these memberships every month. Now we're on Fight TV. We're continuing to grow. Help us continue to grow so we can continue to buy. So we can continue to buy more equipment. I'm trying to get a mic. I need another Google AdSense payment so I can get the mic. Eventually, later in the year, I'm going to be getting probably later next year, I'm going to be getting a mixer. Maybe the middle of next year, I'm going to be getting a mixer. And again, we have to pay for the blog talk. We have to pay for these streaming services. We have to pay for the Libsyn. We have to pay for blog talk. All this stuff we got to pay for. So all these super chats are welcome. So we got the majority of picks here. Thank you so much for the support in the chat, Ralph. Thank you. We appreciate that. So we got the majority of the people here so far picking Spence by KO. So I think the beating the odds would be breakdown. The way I put it to people, I think I swayed a lot of people here. Thank you so much for saying that, Brooklyn Child. I really appreciate that, brother. I think the majority of people here are picking Spence. I think the beating the odds of Beeb segment and the breakdown has swayed some people's minds. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I think I broke it down beautifully. Who's going to the theaters to watch the fight? Said Brooklyn Child. I like watching it in the comfort of my own home, man. To be honest with you, I like doing. I really enjoy doing that. That's what I like to do. All right, guys. This is Joe Habib. I'm going to be signing out. Thank you so much for joining me here at Ringside Reporter. Make sure you check us out tonight. We're going to be doing a live broadcast, doing a live cast of the Benavidez-Darrell fight, as well as the main event with Porter and Spence. And then, as always, join us in the chat. Join us live for the Ringside Reporter live broadcast. Until next time, Beeb is out. And Brooklyn Child says he's going to the theaters. Yeah, that should be cool, man. That should be cool. You get to see the reaction of people, because obviously if you can't be there, the theaters is probably the next best thing in terms of fan engagement and fan excitement and fan reaction. All right, guys. Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. And Beeb is out, man. Have a great day, man. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the fights tonight. And don't forget to join us, baby. All right, baby. Peace out.